For our second example today, I'd like to give you a practice problem to try on your own. This will be exactly the same process, and this is example 8.1 from the OpenStax textbook. The United States National Weather Service reports pressure in both inches of mercury and millibar. Convert a pressure of 29.2 inches of mercury into torr, atmospheres, and kilopascals. So this is going to be a strictly dimensional analysis problem again, where you report an original pressure measurement, which is provided in inches of mercury, into torr, atmosphere, and kilopascal. In terms of your strategy, the first thing you're probably going to need to do is convert the 29.2 inches of mercury into millimeters of mercury. So remember that there are 2.54 centimeters in an inch. There are 10 millimeters in a centimeter. The remainder of your conversions are again given on the previous slides. 1 atmosphere is equal to 760 millimeters of mercury, which is also equal to 101,325 pascals. 1 torr is equal to 1 millimeter of mercury, and 1 bar is equal to 100,000 pascals. So once you've got that information down, pause the video, try to convert the original pressure measurement into all 3 equivalent pressure measurements. Then you can resume the videos and I'll come back in with an explanation. So while you're working the problem, pause the video now, come back to check your answer. Okay, so for our first conversion, we would like to convert the 29.2 inches of mercury into 1 torr. And a torr is equivalent to a millimeter of mercury. It's just a different unit name, but the unit is the same size. So we start with our 29.2 inches of mercury, and our first step is we'd like to convert that into millimeters of mercury. Remembering that there are 2.54 centimeters in an inch, we have 2.54 centimeters of mercury per inch of mercury. There are 10 millimeters in a centimeter. So we can get our original measurement in millimeters of mercury if we take 29.2, multiply by 2.54, and multiply again by 10. That will give us our measurement in millimeters of mercury. A torr and a millimeter of mercury are the same size, just 2 different names for the same unit. So our last conversion factor is multiplying by 1 torr per 1 millimeter of mercury. 29.2 times 2.54 times 10 times 1, 741.68 torr is equivalent to 29.2 inches of mercury. And we'll come back and reconcile sig figs in our last step, but your measurement that you report should have 3 sig figs for each pressure measurement. In the second measurement, we start with the same steps to get the measurement in millimeters of mercury. But our last conversion factor is different because now we'd like to convert it to atmospheres, and we remember that there's 1 atmosphere for every 760 millimeters of mercury. So we have 29.2 times 2.54 times 10 divided by 760. 29.2 inches of mercury is equivalent to 0.976 atmospheres. And then lastly, similar thought process in C. Except in the last step, we need to convert to pascals and ultimately kilopascals. 29.2 inches of mercury times 2.54 centimeters of mercury per inch times 10 millimeters of mercury per centimeter of mercury times 101,325 pascals divided by 760 millimeters of mercury gives us 9.89 times 10 to the 4th pascals as an equivalent pressure measurement. Rounding to 3 sig figs and remembering that there are 1,000 pascals in every kilopascal gives us equivalent measurements of 742 torr, 0.976 atmospheres, and 98.9 kilopascals. So if you had any issues with those, feel free to bring up some questions during our regular class meeting time or hit me up during office hours. But no new skills here. We're just teaching you some new units. This is all dimensional analysis harkening back to your first week of general chemistry.